Hi, I'm Renee Jayne, here to illuminate truth, health, and guide you home to yourself. I'm so grateful that you are here. I want to welcome you to my channel, and mostly I want to introduce you to what we're going to talk about today, because it's all going to be around lessons and tools on detoxing, specifically sugar detox symptoms or any kind of artificial sweetener symptoms, and the information that you need to have to also simultaneously support your mitochondria, support your emotional and mental health as you go through it, and some other little tidbits weaved in throughout all of it. And the reality is that when we talk about our microbiome, I know that's a big idea, but I really want to give you some mental and emotional components because they are so connected. And if you are listening to this video and find it helpful in any way, shape, or form, and you find it valuable, then I would love to hear from you in the comments. Please like and then subscribe to the channel so you can be the first to hear when any new videos come out. And I do put out weekly videos, so I look forward to connecting with you in the comments. All right, let's get into it. Woo! This is a very important topic for me because, as you might have found if you've been watching other videos from me for a while, that I often talk about things and teach around things that I have experienced. And this is a big one for me. I'm a recovering sugar addict, and I've also definitely worked to heal and recover my microbiome successfully. And so what I want to do is I want to invite you to visualize what it feels like to be free of the things in your body physically or even emotional or physical attachments that you may have had for a long time. And maybe it's 10 days from now, maybe it's a few weeks, maybe it's 5 or 6 months from now. What does it feel like to be on the other side? And allow yourself to sit with it, with this idea of freedom and how important that may be to you. That's a big word for a lot of people. But I also want you to come back to the reality, and the reality is that you are in this time with whatever it is that you're facing or dealing with, whether it be sugar or diet sodas or regular sodas or food. Maybe you have been addicted to worrying, or there's addictive behaviors in general around money or obsessive thoughts, or it could be around physical things like shopping or other people, around sex, mental ways of thinking or believing, maybe old avoidant strategies, isolating yourself. I mean, there's so many things, right? And we have used these things because they have worked for us during a time when it felt uncertain in our life, or maybe they were coping strategies that helped us work out through tough things. But these habits have become old habits, old ways of doing things that aren't serving you anymore. They worked for a while, and now they're not. And that's probably why you found this video. So even when it comes to relationships, some relationships work for a while, sometimes they don't. We're going to be talking about this relationship, this identity that you've had with your body, with your relationship to food, with perhaps even your relationship to time or money or energy, and your identity and relationship to your nervous system. Because sometimes for us, we are in this fight or flight response, which is really more of a restriction. And then there's a freeze response, which is more avoidant or isolated or, rigid even. And then there's a fawn response, which can be more about people pleasing. And this is how our nervous system has been showing up. And we might not even recognize it. But there is a connection between this nervous system that you have, your emotional and your mental healing, and then with your withdrawal from whatever it is that you have been attached to. And I want to call this aspect of our withdrawal things that were related to our lower self. So overthinking, overdoing it. And in the middle of this, I want you to really focus on drinking a lot of water. I'm going to get into some physical body symptoms, but water. I'm going to get more into that in a minute. But staying hydrated is like the number one thing that you can do for your body. Simple, but it takes self-worth to keep showing up and do it every day. The thing about certain drugs or caffeine-related things, when we get off of those, I usually recommend a slower, clearer strategy of like gently weaning off of them. However, for sugar or for artificial sweeteners, I do not recommend that. I recommend going cold turkey. Now, my lawyer always reminds me to say to you to check with your doctor, to check with your healthcare practitioner, that everybody is different. Everybody is different. And so don't just take my word for it. But here's the reality when it comes to sugar and artificial sweeteners. The more you wean slowly off of it and have just a little bit, and it extends the withdrawal process. It makes it harder on you, harder physically and harder emotionally. Because when we take this thing out, whatever the thing is, all of our emotional stuff is going to come up. All the stuff that we've been burying or that we're not paying attention to. And what it's going to do is it's going to inform us of certain areas of our physical body that then need to be worked through or healed or would need extra attention or recovery. And so wherever or whatever we are attached to is going to be revealed to us. And so when we let go of one attachment, let's say it's sugar, it's going to reveal to us emotional attachments that we weren't even aware are there. And I know you might be like, no, I don't want to do this, but I want you to remind yourself that this is actually, it can be a spiritual practice if you allow it to be. You can remind yourself that you are exactly where you need to be in the moment. And please, 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 do not judge your experience, especially your withdrawal experience. If you start worrying about it, if you start worrying about what other people think, if you start worrying about symptoms that you might be having or the bad breath that you're having, or if you're worried about whatever it is, or thinking, I can't make it through, or sometimes, you start beating yourself up and having like negative thoughts, just remember that there's nothing to be done. There's nothing to be done but just to sit with the feelings, sit with the emotions. And what I mean is that in two ways. First of all, of course there's something to be done because there's always things that we can do to support our body. And I'm going to get to some of those physical things. But when I say there's nothing to be done, what I also mean is that there's really nothing that you can do to control your body. And worrying about it is not going to help you. So really what you're being called to is to sit and be alone with yourself, to sit and show up and be there for the transformation of withdrawal, to be with your emotions, to be humbled by it, because it can be scary and it can be a time of feeling, let's face it, like the fiery hell of your lower nature. Your lower nature, by the way, to me is all of these aspects of obsessive thoughts and addictive thoughts and our shadow stuff. And you kind of need to meet it so that you can also meet with the new version of yourself, the new identity within you that's saying, I'm ready to move forward in my life. I've noticed that my nervous system has become reliant upon certain things. I'm noticing that as I'm going through withdrawal, I'm having this nervous system reaction and I want to do whatever I can to regulate. Sometimes we replace one addiction with another. Notice that. It's all information. What you're doing is you're going through a healing crisis. And anybody who just wants to tell you it's physical, turn them off, because it is so much more than that. Certainly physical substances have an impact on our physical body. Certainly we need to talk about that. I'm going to go into some of those things right now. But it would do you disservice if I didn't mention this opportunity to shed some light on these emotions and these feelings that you have within you, the things that keep you up at night, the things that need some of your attention or connection, or perhaps the areas where you need to cultivate more peace or forgiveness. There is a reason we use the things we're using, the substances. It's not even so much about the substances that we're addicted to or the thing we're addicted to. It's actually more about the behavior that's underneath it, the behavior that we've gotten used to. And certainly we do have addictions to things. That makes an impact. However, the reason why we continuously keep coming back to it, the reason why we keep becoming more and more and more attached, and it doesn't actually help us long term to keep coming back to it, is because we've been using it to avoid being alone with the feelings that are the most present for us. And those things are going to come up for you to look at them, to face them, to be with them, and you're totally okay. Just remember that you're okay. And you might need support, reach out if you do, but just make make no mistake that if you've used a substance for your best friend, if you've used it as your parent, your surrogate parent, or you've made it your God, then there is a different solution. And many of us don't realize that we've actually been using it that way. We don't realize how much we've clung to it. And I want you to know that you can trust your body. You can trust in another solution. And our body and our spiritual connection with God or universe or spirit is often one of the best ways that we can take through the withdrawal process. So let's talk a little bit about strategy in your physical body. So milk thistle is something I do recommend to support your liver. High doses of vitamin C, vitamin D. Remember, always check with your doctor or your practitioner about what is best for your body, because nobody has a body like your body. Don't just take my word for it. Drink tons of water, like lots and lots of water. Have great quality water. Add good nutrients to your water, and just like really prioritize it at this time. You could use Manuka honey as a way to help build your mitochondria, maybe like twice a day. I'd have like a teaspoon once per day and maybe spread it out, like maybe not a lot more than a teaspoon. We don't want to like use it in a bad way, but it helps build our mitochondria. In a bad way, I would mean like half the bottle, right? I've been there. But we want to help balance out our good bacteria inside our gut. And first of all, your body also needs sweetness. So that also helps with that. I recommend sweating, keeping your body moving, taking saunas, working out, being in action. Epsom baths, I don't know if I mentioned that, but I'm going to say it again if I did. And just again, stay hydrated while you do all the sweating, because your body's losing a lot more water than you're taking in at that point. And remember that you're supporting yourself in detoxing. That in these next days ahead of you, it might be 3 days, it might be 4, it might be 10 or 15 for some of you. But just remember that you're supporting your body and detoxing off of things. Maybe you can kind of have this mentality that you are in this like little bubble where you're taking super good care of yourself. What if you spent 20 grand a month to go to one of those like fancy places celebrities go to detox off of something? Now I know maybe you don't have that all at your home, but what if you could give yourself extra water and supplements and good food and rest and compassion and kind words and extra sweating and movement? And I know you're over there saying, oh my God, Renee, but I'm working. You know how busy I am? I keep showing up and I have so many things that I've already done, and I have other obligations, and I have family, and I have children, and I have events, and then all of a sudden, look at what happens. We start making excuses, and I have to say that because I've done it. This is about a commitment to yourself and not showing up in your perfectionism. You're just showing up a little bit every single day, even if it's for 15 minutes, to support yourself through this time. Through this time, because you know what? You deserve more calm. You deserve more ease and regulation. You deserve a lot more chill in your life, and to witness the transformation that is actually occurring for you, that wants to occur with you and through you. And you don't need to worry. You don't need to control it all. You kind of just need to be the observer of it and watch it. And this is the time that you trust. This is the time that you remind yourself that there will be always, always, always the perfect opportunity for you to step into your next version of yourself, and that there will never be the perfect time to do it. There will never be the perfect time. Just like there's never a perfect time to break up with somebody that you need to break up with, there's never a perfect time to do a sugar withdrawal. And you might disagree with me, but I think that any time that we try to do something can come up. And it's always going to show you the patterns that are within you, that you've been attached to something. You're always going to see how your nervous system reacts to going through this experience, because when we take something out we've been attached to, it shows us where our nervous system is operating from. And it all happens one day at a time. So check out my video, if you haven't seen it yet, on the empowered no. It's a really good follow-up to this conversation, and actually gives you some more tips on how to literally stop eating the sugar. And to also invite you, if you need more support, check out the 18-day eating plan and cleanse. It's on my website. it's an incredible use of your time if you are looking for more support and you need a very clear strategy and a structure on how to support yourself through a new eating plan and a cleanse, and in a very loving environment while you do it. And remember that your body is very unique, and so this one caters to the uniqueness of you. It is not something that is just canned and cloned for everyone. It's about you finding and trusting you. And by the way, one last thing. If you need more support on the emotional healing work, on how to look into your shadow, how the emotional, mental stuff connects with your physical body stuff, because this is kind of a big deal, you might want to check out the self-healing course, which is a big one for my private clients specifically. I often give it away for free to my one-on-one coaching clients and private coaching clients. It can also be purchased at a lower rate and just used as a self-study, and it's very effective for that as well. So if you find this video to be of value, then please like this video, share it, share yourself in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to connect more with you. And yeah, I look forward to having a conversation on this topic and similar ones in the future. Talk soon.